because we're in the age of Aquarius where there's no effort. It's just really about allowing, surrendering, letting go, and be open to receive. Heaven comes to you, It's such a beautiful practice. This is one of my greatest gifts to humanity at this time, for people to receive this gift. We are in a time right now where we can have this immortal body in this lifetime, where we can take the body with us. We don't have to die. We can transform the body to the pure light and travel the universe, travel other places. Jesus had his light body. That's why they didn't find his body in the tomb, because he transformed his body to light.
How we can be enlightened without dying, travel through time without dying, with this own vessel. How can you actually alchemize it within your body to become light body? Welcome to the Hard Part. The guest I have today, Felicia Rondeau. Felicia has 20 experience of being a Qigong practitioner, and she teaches in ancient Daoism alchemy practice that's originate in Kunlun Mountains of Himalayas. She's also been a wonderful, tremendous helper, healer, and guide, intuitive healer to me personally as well. And she has practiced many years and help a lot of people on the energy healing, on the body work as well. So let's welcome Felicia. Felicia, how are you doing lately?
Thank you for having me here. I am on fire right now. I'm just really feeling a lot of beautiful energy, blissful energy, and really happy to be here and to share this with everyone. So thank you again for having me.
Again, for coming onto the podcast. So
Yes.
What's the one thing that you're doing recently that you feel most passionate about?
There's a lot of things that I feel passionate about, but it always comes down to being in communion with nature, being in communion with your deepest soul essence, and working with that whole body, mind, energy, and really be able to explore your inner universe, your inner world, and connecting with the outer world and creating this alchemy, creating this magic, because, it's easy to get caught up in this three-dimensional world. And so this is the way that helps me truly to thrive and to remember who I am. And so any moment when I need to come back to my heart, come back to the center, this is what I do. And it brings me just great joy.
And I do realize that in the society, we're all just really busy about how we're going to do for the work, thinking about the future or thinking about the past, and never really enjoy the moment of realizing that nature is just right around us and come back to our heart center. I bet that there's a time that we are not like that. So how did you come to a point where you realize that the importance of connecting with the nature and being the present?
Well, pain is my teacher. It's been one of my greatest teachers. And I think that was in my 20s when I was just in a lot of chronic pain, and it was very disruptive, for me. And I just knew how to do something about that. And I knew that there was something I could do. I went to the doctors, and of course they couldn't help me. They just said, there's nothing we can see. So then I knew, okay, I have to take this into my own hands. And, and then I found Qigong. I never even knew what Qigong was. I thought I was going into yoga studio. And then I walk in there and they're like, Kamsahamnida. And I'm like, what? So these were like Korean masters. And I just fell into this place. I took a class and I was amazed at the results, that it really connected me and helped me to become present, helped me to connect with what's happening inside. And so ever since then, I continue to do that. And it has been one of the greatest gifts for me. And, I cannot live without my practice. So
Wow.
Yeah, big lifesaver, and this is one of my greatest passions as well in life, which is also part of, the whole nature, right? Living in harmony with nature.
Yeah, I think that we all come down to a point where there are some trigger in our life that brought us into exploring different technique or different tools that can help us to transmute our emotions inside of our body. I think that finding the tool that's suitable for us is what everybody's looking for. Whoever that's listening to this podcast, they're probably looking for that as well. Can you share how you know that the tool, the Qigong, is actually your thing, and you feel resonant with that so deeply that you practice that for 20 years. It's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was saying, I went to that first class and I couldn't believe the results that I got. Everything opened up and I just felt so great. And it just was very clear that this is my practice because it was easy to do. It was my whole being resonated with it. Yeah, I just knew that this was my path. I just kept coming back and continue to evolve. And I'm like, wow, this really helped me a lot.
It seems like, Felicia, you're a really intuitive person that you know exactly what do you want and whether it's your path. Have you always been like that?
Intuitive and empathic. Yes. And there's the pros and cons, right? When I look back as a child, remembering how I was feeling and what I was sensing, you didn't know at the time as a child, but later when you're an adult and you go back, you realize, oh, wow, I was feeling all of these things that I was feeling from other people, from my parents, from other adults around, and just having this inner knowing about what's going on. And then, of course, later on, when I heard the word intuitive or empathic, I'm like, I never heard of that before. That feels like my experience. And so it was helpful for me to understand what I was feeling and going through. That wasn't my feeling. I was feeling from others. When you're a kid, you don't know what's going on. And I wish I would have known, right? Because then I could navigate more better and also protect myself.
100%. I resonate with that. And I bet a lot of audience right now listening, they have resonation with their intuitive, their empath ability that they are often confused about. We have been told that we're just thinking too much or we're just imagining hallucination. But how do you come to an understanding to really believe in your intuitive power? How did that develop for you?
Well, meditation is always the tool that helped me a lot. And through my meditation, I was able to get out of the mind and trying to figure out and understand, right? Because we're using always the head. And then understanding that that is not the way. So learning how to meditate and coming to my heart and to witness, become the witness of what I'm feeling. What am I picking up? Seeing how that feels. Does it feel true? Does it resonate? And so I would meditate and just tap into what feels in harmony and in resonance with my body. And then sometimes I would ask the question, okay, can you give me more signs, that this is the path for me or that this is the correct answer. And then I will pay attention, right? I will pay attention to my environment, to things that are going on, and then I would see the messages coming from different places, and that would affirm what I was thinking is correct. And it never fails because when you trust, right, you learn to trust in yourself also. You get to understand that feeling of inner knowing, and then you recognize it. And then it's like, okay, I know that feeling and I can trust in it.
Have you developed that deeper trusting before you come to Qigong?
I was just starting more to go deeper, but still, a little bit new to all of it. But definitely through the Qigong practice, that gave me a lot of confidence and trust in myself and more clarity. And when you're doing Qigong, you are vibrating also at that frequency of your true essence, your soul essence. So you're going to feel more of that aliveness and that truth that is within you. So that was a really great support in cultivating more of that clarity of intuition.
It's really interesting how I hear Qigong learning from Westerns. I remember when I was young, my dad was doing Qigong and I was like, oh, there's only ancient old people do that. And I never would have thought that in some day, somehow I'm here in the States and then hearing you are the actual practitioner, like professional on that. Can you share a little bit more about how's your first experience come together and how did your body feel in terms of what's the internal process blending together to your feelings?
Well, first of all, I realized that, I have a past life in Qigong. And even though, we're from the West, we are ancient beings, right?
Yeah.
And we remember. And so in our memory, even if it's a subconscious, it guides us to what we are used to do in the past. In the center where I went, first of all, I walk in there, and these are all masters. When I first walk in, I feel like this sprinkling of energy coming down. And I was like, wow, like an energy station. So that was the first time I feel energy moving through my body. In the first class, we are doing tapping. You know, we do the Dantian tapping. I can feel the energy moving from the head down into the body and tingling all over. That tingling is partially because it's releasing a lot of stagnant energy, releasing blockages in the body, and you're feeling like all the channels opening up. And as you're releasing, what I feel also is more energy coming through the crown and just cleansing, a cleansing experience. And with that cleansing, then it comes, you feel expansion. You feel more energy surrounding you. And then your breathing is becoming more deeper. And it just continues to go deeper and deeper. And it's really beautiful when you are connecting with the breath. When you develop that deep, intimate relationship with the breath as a spirit of God. After a while, you're learning about that. You're getting a deeper, intimate connection with your breath, and then you're the consciousness of that breath. And so there's different layers of feeling, sensation, and knowing. So much you can do with that awakening of consciousness with the breath. You learn how to feel more deeply the sensations of the body, and then how to direct that energy where you want it to go. You learn to sense, I have this something here, pain. And then you start to communicate. You start to communicate with the body. You listen and pay attention. Then you heal that organ or that area.
Nice point that you brought up actually about Qigong. It's not only just the energy moving, it's not only just the sensing, and it's how you can use your breath to activate, to connect with your sensation. It's really beautiful that the breath is the most important gift that universe gave us. We just need to learn how to utilize it, to know how to put that into our body and connect to that. So I've been exploring the breath as well, and I didn't know that in Qigong you actually explore that as well. I have a question when you mentioned about the past life. When you get into Qigong, you feel like you have done it before. Can you elaborate that more experience?
Well, you know, it's a feeling of remembrance. You know, when you do something that it comes naturally and it's easy and you're just good at it, right? You know it. You just know it. So that gives me a clue that I used to do the Qigong in the past. And I've also had others confirm that for me. My friends, some of them psychic and dreams that I've had. So I'm like, oh, wow. And actually the Daoist alchemy practice that I teach, it's a lineage practice coming from the Mao Shan and the Shaolin lineage. I really love martial arts. As a kid, I was like imagining becoming martial artist. But I think it's just a feeling of knowing and then seeing it in your dreams.
Wow, that's amazing. Actually, I feel people who start walking on this spiritual journey, there are a lot of remembering came up. And this remembering feeling is just that you cannot really use any logic to explain what are you feeling right now. But there is this inner knowing that you have done this before. You are familiar with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You just can't explain, can't make sense out of it. That bring me thinking about, wow, that Qigong has brought into your life like that. And the first time you experience it, you already felt the familiarity. What's the internal process of that, deciding whether you're going to stick to this Qigong? Have you ever think about to go the other side way when you're learning? Because that is 20 years of the life. I'm sure that in the middle, you have encountered a lot of different stuff, learning, teaching. What's the process of deciding?
Because it resonates with the whole world of the nature. It's all comes down to nature and the simplicity of life. A true path, I believe, it's a simple path. And Qigong for me was a very simple path. And it really resonates because there's no dogma, there's no belief system. It's just you and nature. It's not even something you have to believe in that. Because it's evident we are surrounded by the beauty of nature, of life, and you don't have to believe in that. It's right in front of your eyes. And so it's because of that simplicity that it really resonates with me. I've gone into some yoga, which is also very beautiful, but it's a distinct difference. It's very different. The lineage is different also. And so, yeah, I try yoga and Qigong, so different. So I said, yes, Qigong feels very natural to me.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of difference between Qigong and yoga, definitely. If you have to really list it out at the difference, what would you say the difference between Qigong and yoga to you? Yeah. Not only just a movement, is there any like energy-wise difference?
Yeah, like so with Qigong, for me personally, emphasizes more of energy, because Qi means energy, Gong means cultivation. So it's the cultivation of energy. And we're using 3 dantians opposed to the chakras. So already I like that, because we use the 3 energy centers, which is not 7 chakras. So the 3 energy centers breaks down to energy of sexual energy, heart, and mind energy. So in that way, I just feel like there's a simplicity again to it. The idea of just cultivating that energy and using also the elements we call the 5 elements. Anything that has to do with that nature and the cycle of life, creation and destruction, it just really resonates. I think with yoga, you think of all the postures that they do. I like the postures and the stretching, but my body, it was not as flowing for me when I would practice these postures. It just felt more natural with the Qigong.
You mentioned about the 5 elements. I'm curious about how Qigong is working with that 5 element when you're practicing Qigong.
So I'll talk about the Daoist practice, for instance. There's a certain posture that we hold, and it's working with the water element and the fire. So water is the kidneys and the fire is the heart. So this is an example of how we work with the elements. Each element has a relation to organ and also emotion. So you have the 5 organs, 5 element and emotion. And we use those elements to balance the energies of the body and bring harmony to the emotional body, which is really important, because as a human, people can become very emotionally ungrounded or taken over by the emotion. Yes, so we're working with the balancing of all the elements, which is you have the air, water, the metal, and wood.
Metal and wood.
Yes.
Okay. It's a four element.
Actually, there's 5. So I think I leave one out. Let's see.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than shamanic, right? I remember the 5 element that we're usually talking about is water, fire, wind, earth, and ether. And
Similar,
so
yes.
is that like anything correlated?
Yeah, because all of these spiritual practices have its roots in a similar ancient mystery schools. And there also has shamanism in it as well, because shamanism is some of the oldest ancient teachings on the planet. It's mixed in there.
I see. I bet a lot of audience already knew that our body organ has something to do with different elements. And often we encounter some cancer or some diseases or problem on that organ actually means that it's out of balance.
Yeah.
Does Qigong has any knowledge towards that as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because the mind is a powerful thing, and the mind creates what you are expressing or what you are thinking about. So if somebody has a lot of worry in their life, that's going to bring imbalance in the spleen or the stomach. Some people, they have like ulcers because they're using too much worry. And so there's always something to counterbalance that cancer. And so if you are aware that, okay, I'm worrying, how can you transform that worry to something positive? Then you train your mind to release that worry and bring the trusting in yourself, trusting in the higher power, and balancing it through changing the way you think, and then also changing the vibration of that organ through loving yourself, through focus and tension, finding out what is the lesson of that, whatever it is that you're worried about. There's so many benefits from disease and difficult, challenging times. It's all for learning and to give you the blessing that's underneath it. So asking yourself, okay, why do I have this? And what is the lesson that I have to learn from it? And then you just pay attention and wait for the answer, that guidance. You are your own healer. We all have the ability to heal ourselves and to become our own greatest teacher. So that is what I love to share with people. You are the medicine. You have the power to transform your life because you are that God, the I am, the great I am. And that is a great discovery for all of us.
Thank you, Felicia, for great sharing of that. We all have to remember that we are the creator, that we have all the power to transmute, to solve any problem that we might think is problem in our physical body, in our life. I'm just curious about how are Qigong working with elements in terms of different organs. For instance, you're saying
Kidney.
Water is kidney. Can you share a little bit more on that, more knowledge on that, what exactly kidney is representing in terms of emotional wise, and how water elements is working? How can you even heal that organ if you have that problem?
So with the kidney, that's fear. And again, it's really about coming into that sacred union with the divine, to bring yourself into alignment with your true nature, because the fear is not who you are. And when we can address it, this is now the kidneys that we're dealing with. We can start to restore them through Qigong, through using also inner smile. We call inner smile meditation, where you start to tell the body, all is fine, all is well. When you smile, it changes the whole chemistry of the brain. And again, we come back to that simplicity of the practice, which is just inner smile, breathing, and bringing your attention to the fear, telling yourself it's going to be okay, that there's something here to show me something, and there's a beautiful gift and a beautiful blessing waiting to be discovered.
And how does that water element come into the play?
Water is a cleansing agent. Yeah. And we are 95% made from water, and water has a memory. Water is like a quantum computer, and of course created by God. So if we can activate that water and create the alchemy of the healing water, that can move through our whole body, because like I said, we are 95% water. Imagine, you're changing that water from the lower energy to like a pristine water. So you're using that water and changing the molecular structure to more crystal based. So that is like a part of the alchemy.
It's amazing how you bring the elements into different organs to do the internal alchemy inside of our body. But I have a question regarding to water and cleansing the organ. We know that water is the cleansing energy. Can I use the water element to cleanse other energy as well? As you were mentioning, different elements represent different organs. How does that work?
Well, it's interesting because I was like, that's a good question, but then something came to me, also remembering that what we used to do in our alchemy class is we would bring a glass of water and hold it in our palm, and connect with the heart energy, with the cosmic energy, and we would set intentions to bring healing to that water, to create a beautiful healing potion, and then we would drink the water. So this is a way that you can use water to heal people. But also there's so many different things that you can use for healing with water, because also it's celestial. There are different type of water. There's water that's here on the planet, but there's also celestial water that is not from this planet. We call celestial water. I don't know, I've heard of a story called the Seven Sisters. They are 7 stars, and they are the water barriers. When you start to become magnetic in the practice that I teach, you're opening yourself up to receive this celestial waters. And it's really a feminine quality. Water is a feminine quality. And through that practice, you're bringing down this heavenly energies as you are becoming more magnetic. It's also described as electromagnetic or a magnetic energy. And you become the vessel to receive that water. That's then changing your physical structure to more light. You're becoming more light. And it's really profound. It's really amazing. And this practice is really for our time, because we're in the age of Aquarius. And this is awakening through the divine feminine. where there's no effort. It's just really about allowing, surrendering, letting go, and be open to receive. Heaven comes to you. With all the other practices, the fire-based practice, which is more masculine and forceful, you have to strive, to reach the heaven. But no more of that.
Oh.
We want heaven just to come, and just all we do is be open and effortlessly receive it.
That's amazing sharing. Actually, I feel like these kind of the age, it all come down to we are being able to connect with the divine, and we are doing whatever we're passionate of effortlessly. People just need to come to awareness that we can do this effortlessly.
Yes.
In terms of before, we have this age of Capricorn where we have to really fight and be taking one step by the time and all that. And right now, we just need to embrace everything, let the universe have the expression through us, happening everything through us effortlessly.
Yes.
So I'm wondering in Qigong, because my understanding of Qigong is more shallow. It's more like body work. I'm not sure of the true essence of it. In Qigong, do you actually teach, for instance, you're saying receiving celestial water, or how do you utilize the fire energy in your body? Do you teach that?
Yeah, so the Daoist alchemy practice, it's such a beautiful practice. This is one of my greatest gifts to humanity at this time, for people to receive this gift, because it's so easy. And because it's the quick path, simple, easy, done sitting in a chair. You're holding a certain posture that activates the sun and the moon channels, which is the water and the fire. And what happens when these two channels become saturated with energy, because when you're holding, you're cultivating the qi. You're bringing in the energy of the water and the fire. When it gets complete saturation, these two energies merge together, water and fire. And what happens with water and fire, when you're boiling that water, it's rising up. It's coming like a steam, like going into the air and evaporating into I would say, the 0 point, back to the creation. This is an example of what happens with our body. We can learn from physical flesh to pure energy, to pure light. We call it the immortal body, or the red phoenix for the women, or the golden dragon. We are in a time right now where we can have this immortal body in this lifetime, where we can take the body with us. We don't have to die. We can transform the body to the pure light and travel the universe, travel other places. Jesus had his light body. That's why they didn't find his body in the tomb, because he transformed his body to light. So this is how we use the water and the fire to alchemize the physical body. And it's through the physical that we can become re-enlightened, literally. So it's really amazing time. And, and we have all the support from the sun, and the earth and the energies that are available for us to accomplish this.
Yes, about the light body, I have actually heard a lot about it as well, like how we can be enlightened without dying, travel through time without dying with this own vessel. Can you elaborate more how Qigong will bring into that light body practice? How can you actually alchemize within your body to become light body? I'm sure a lot of audience are really curious about that.
Yeah. When you're first beginning and you have the initial awakening, that means you open something inside of you and you start to feel the energy moving. How can you accomplish that? First of all, don't take life too seriously, right? And be like a child. Be like that innocent, pure child, just here to have fun. There's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. And you are perfect, whole, and complete. So having the right mindset is important. And really being able to let go of the mind. Easy, but not easy. So being able to let go of the mind and letting go of any judgments or preconceived notions or expectations. So the right mindset is important. And when you're doing the practice, you're closing your eyes and you just smile. Help to open your heart. You have to have an open heart. That can just happen spontaneously. It's not difficult. You can try it later on, everyone, to just closing your eyes and smile. And then you're breathing into your heart and you'll just automatically start to feel something shifting in your body and your heart becomes softened and it will open. And you start to feel that joy and that blissful feeling. And then when you feel that, you just keep dropping deeper into that, surrendering and connecting with your breath and allowing for yourself to receive and say to yourself, I am open and receptive. I'm open to receive this energy that can awaken my light body. And of course, sincerity. When you are sincere about something, it's because your soul is ready. Your soul is calling you for this next stage of evolution in your life. And when you have that feeling, boom, you're ready. So it's about being ready. I'm really excited to feel that readiness of the people over here where now the time is for us to transcend the physical body, become the immortals that we are. Yeah.
Totally. As you were mentioning, you brought up this important point where it all comes down to feeling the heart. There's an important portal over here that you actually have to feel the heart in order to access either your inner wisdom or to become this light body.
It's the gateway.
That is the gateway and the secrets, right? That's beautiful sharing that you have here. Before we close, what is that one thing you wish you could have said or done when you were younger, like when you were little? What would you say to your younger self?
I wish I was awakened at age 6 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, everything is perfect, of course, but I just wish that I was more aware of what was happening with me when I was 6 years old, because that was a very, very, very challenging time for me. And it really affected my life in a not the best way. So from 6 years old until now, even still, I'm working with some of that trauma that happened. But I think that there was a reason why I had to experience that, because that was my medicine. It's what taught me who I am today to overcome those things. But other than that, I was a gymnastics. 5 years old, I went to gymnastics and I had no fear. And I was flying in the air, doing gymnastics, leaps and dives, off the stage. And that was so much joy for me. And I was so good at it. And I wish that I could have stuck with that. I wish that I told my mom and demand her to keep me in those classes, because I would have probably liked to be a professional gymnastics. So later on in my life, I discovered music, dance, and singing, and which I still do a little bit, here and there. But I would love to become a performer, maybe the next life, But now I am doing starting to do sound healing, which has been another tool of mine that I'm getting into. So those are fun questions.
Yeah, we all want to know things much more earlier in the early stage so that we don't have to go through that trouble. But then we realize that pain is actually our medicine and our wound can be our wisdom. So in a rating from 1 to 10, how much do you think you're operating from your heart right now?
Let me say 7. 7, because there's definitely some deep-seated fears that I've been chipping away at. And so I think right now I feel like I'm at 7 out of 10. But some days it's different. Some days I'm totally in my heart. It just depends. Day is different. Every moment is new. So there are moments where I'll have a whole week of just fully living in my heart and feeling just amazing and on top of the world in power. And they will come in moments where I'm experiencing that for 1 or 2 weeks.
And what is the one thing you can suggest anyone or even yourself to create the connection between mind and heart?
Yes. Always, always, always meditation, sitting quietly, breathing and observing your breath and connecting to that deeper aspect of yourself and doing it more and more regularly, because that helps you to cultivate becoming aware, becoming present, and becoming more conscious. And in doing all of that, then you become more in alignment with your heart and mind together. And I would also say the simplicity again, going out in nature, feeling the aliveness and the beauty that's all around you and connecting with that nature, because we're so disconnected. We live in these big cities and it's so challenging sometimes when we're in this modern age to connect with nature and surrounded by beauty and just connecting with that. But there's definitely a lot of things, like do what makes you feel good, or do what feels nurturing to you. Listening to music or dancing, movement. Movement is a really good practice, I think, to get people out of their head, do some kind of therapeutic movement. Yeah. I think those are the two or three major things for me.
Definitely. I think that there are so many tools, but the simplest is the best. Simply bring our attention to heart and just do whatever that makes us feel
Inner
joy.
smile. Inner smile.
Made us feel joy. Inner smile. Smile at heart. In our heart.
So simple. Yeah,
It'll be so simple. But we have to constantly be reminded as well.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for today, Felicia, your time and your sharing and your wisdom today. I'm sure that people will get a lot out of Qigong and understanding how we can be more in our heart in order to alchemize the elements and help us to be enlightened with this body, become light body.
Yes.
If they're interested in the Qigong lesson or your lesson, how can they find you? Do you have any email or links down below?
I can be found on Instagram at IndoFelicia. I don't have any links at the moment, so they can email me at indofelicia@yahoo.com, and I'm also on Facebook, Felicia Rondeau. I think you will have my name there. They could look that up.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to your future course and future lessons as well.
Yes.
I remember you were saying that you are about to open one in the future. And if
I've been waiting for a long time to share this, and I'm ready to share it now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
for any audience, if you're interested, feel free to connect through email or through Instagram. Universe will push Felicia to bring this out to humanity, to bring this wisdom out to humanity. And this is no better time than this, because we have this massive transform energy that's happening on the earth. See you next time. Thank you, Felicia.